Peymon who?
Mottahedeh.
Peymon Mottahedeh. Who is he?
Never paid taxes in 30 years. Fought the U.S. tax court and won.
See, I believe our rights come from God, not from government.
Hello to my freedom truth-seeking friends. I'm Peymon Mottahedeh, the president of Freedom Law School, and it is my pleasure to bring you the topic tonight. Is just a very big importance about how the deep state duped you. Since 1913, over 100 years ago, you never had an obligation as a business owner to pay any federal income taxes. Okay, it's all done with smoke and mirrors, and we got to wake up. It's more than just CIA, FBI, and DOJ, which are crooked government agencies who duped us to you believe they're good guys doing a good job for us. No, it's the IRS. It's really steals. It's really slavery. It's really Satan. Pick your choice, which one you like better, because it's trying to deceive you to be a slave. Okay. Now, for those of you who don't know, I have not filed and paid any federal income taxes for over 30 years because there's no law requiring that people of the 50 United States, like you and me, to pay federal income or payroll taxes whatsoever. I've openly taught people these things for over 30 years. Here I am free, not in prison. Even though we have documented that I've been under criminal investigation and other investigations by the IRS for over 30 years. So if I can be free, an immigrant from Iran who came here to the land of the free, home of the brave, and with open mind find out, oh, wow, we've been duped and lied to, I cannot pay income tax. So can you, a lot easier. I don't care how a billionaire you are, you don't owe any federal income tax. If you're an employee, you want to take this to your boss. Okay, educate them about all this. Okay, so let's get going to how we've been duped. Now, before we talk about these things, it's all in definitions. I'm 100% for life-saving, gender-affirming care in the real definitions, not their corrupted definitions. Okay, I'm affirming you as a man, she as a woman, for affirming care for you, affirming you're a man, that's a woman. Okay, and it saves your life. If you don't mutilate yourself, cut your body parts off because someone brainwashed you that, oh, you're in the wrong body. So know that the Satan, these crooks, use deception to enslave you, and your solution is what? Seek the truth, and the truth shall set you free. All right, let's go at it. Okay, now here, if on our website freedomlawschool.org, we have the first step is follow the law, and in this video I covered why, based upon the official legal websites of U.S. government, no law requires 99% of Americans to file and pay income taxes. So in this 10-minute video, you can see it right here. I assume you watched it. If you've not watched that, watch that video first. Then come watch this video because it'll make more sense. I'm not going to go over all the basics again and again, okay? So assuming you watch that, let's go over this thing. And we're going to talk about, the definitions first, because that's the video, by the way, the name of it, because definitions are key. So here it is. This is your Supreme Court blog that here it came out November 2023. This article was out. And in this article, it quotes the U.S. Supreme Court Justice Elena Kagan, one of the communist LGBT plus Supreme Court justices. She even said that, okay, that it is statutory or legal interpretation 101, very basic, that we take a defined term as it's defined in the law, in the statute, and we plug the definition in, and that's what the meaning of the statute is. I mean, come on, just so obvious, right? Well, when it comes to tax law, they deliberately made this thing confusing to law, the Internal Revenue Code. This is entire federal tax law. The definitions are not in the beginning for you to know the limits of federal taxing laws. They hit it at the end. So you give up by the time you go through all these 10,000 plus pages of tiny font gobbledygook that are meant to deliberately confuse you, so you hand your life to this accountant, CPA, or tax attorney for help. Help, I don't know what to do. Keep me out of trouble with the IRS, right? So let's get back to this whole definition of business a little bit better now, okay? We got to go to definitions. He's the Supreme Court of the United States. In this case, okay, that came out in 2024 with this long name, right? The unanimous Supreme Court in this 2024 case, what did it say? It said the obvious. When Congress takes the trouble to define the terms it uses, a court must respect its definition as virtually conclusive. And that means you as well, my friend. Okay? So this court will not deviate from an express statutory definition merely because it varies from the term's ordinary meaning. So when the ordinary meaning of a term is something that, you think, oh, that's what it means. Supreme Court says, no, you cannot go by your ordinary meaning of the term. You got to go exactly, precisely, but what the law actually its words say. And the U.S. Supreme Court in this tax case, 1917 Gould versus Gould, said unanimously in tax cases it's even harsher on the government. And it says that in the interpretation or understanding of statutes, laws, levying or imposing taxes, so in understanding laws that impose taxes, it is the established rule not to extend their provisions, do not extend the provision of tax laws by implication or implying beyond the clear import of the language used, or to enlarge their operations so as to embrace or include matters not specifically pointed out. If it's not specifically pointed out, it is not there. Very clear, strong, almost repetitious language by the U.S. Supreme Court. And they add this. The unanimous Supreme Court says, in case of doubt, any doubt about all this, the tax laws, are construed or interpreted most strongly against the government and in favor of the citizen not being taxed. Not just strongly, most strongly against the government. You can't get any stronger than most strongly, can you? Right? So these definitions you're going to see are going to be shocking you. I'm going to do a refresher on some of these things for you. You're going to see, okay, we got to go by definitions. I'm going to prove it to you more than one way. We've been lied to and how to be free, okay? So hang in there. So here we got the section 7701 of the Internal Revenue Code, okay? In chapter 79 definitions, we talked about this many times before, okay? When it used in this title, what title again? Title 26, the Internal Revenue Code, the federal tax laws. What you see in paper, I have it online for you at uscode.house.gov, the website of the Congress of the United States that publish, laws for everybody to see and read for themselves. So here we go down in this Title 26. Trade or business has this very interesting definition, which includes the performance of the functions of a public office. No commercial business of any kind is mentioned. None. It doesn't say includes a commercial business, a business for profit, a money-making business, or printers, or construction workers, or computer programmers, or land surveyors, or any business. The only thing that it mentions is what? Performance of the functions of a public office. All right? Now, This definition is conclusive, as the Supreme Court just told every one of us. Look at this. This is the laws of the District of Columbia, passed by Congress. That's right. Congress of the United States has complete dominion and power over the District of Columbia, which was given to it by the states back when the U.S. Constitution was written, so that it can be completely immune from any outside powers. It can do whatever it wants in D.C. It was meant to be a military base, basically, to keep primarily America safe from England, try to take the new states back into, absorb it into slave colonies of England, and as a base of operations. So the laws of Congress, laws of Washington, D.C. are written by Congress. Sometimes they allow the D.C. City Council to write laws, but under supervision and control of the Congress of the United States. So look at this. Here's in this law, okay, there's a different definition about this term, okay, that they have here. For the purpose of this chapter, okay, they define special things for themselves, okay? And guess one of these things that you're going to come across now is the word trade or business. See, as usual, they define these terms very specifically as they want to. Why? Because they can do so. They have the power to define things any way they want. They define things that otherwise do not need to be defined because they, want to define things for the special purposes that they want to do that. So as we go down, we're going to come across the term trade or business. Okay, so let me go down a little bit more. We'll get that. Okay, hold on, trade or business. It's coming up. Okay, taxable year. Here we go. Way down there. Trade or business means the engaging in or carrying on of any trade, business, profession, vocation, or calling, or commercial activity in the District of Columbia. Wow! Here to specifically mention any trade, business, profession, vocation, or calling, or commercial activity of any kind in the District of Criminals, okay? Including activities in the District of Columbia, district that benefit a related entity of the taxpayer. And look at that. They add in there, the performance of functions of a public office. Wow. They add, of course, other stuff like leasing of real and personal property in D.C., okay, body person, whether or not property is leased directly by person or through an agent, officer, or representative, and whether or not the person, agent, officer, or representative performs any services in connection with the property. How about that? But in the middle of all this stuff is the performance of function of public office. And everything else that you think normally trade or business includes is in there and specifically written out. It's not by implying, assuming. So you know that this includes all these things. And then when you go to here in the tax laws, federal income tax laws, the term trade or business includes only the performance of functions of the public office. That is all in there. You can assume all these other things that the District of Columbia Code has. All these things are in there because they're not written out. They're not part of the law. So now that you got double sure, you see the word trade or business is specifically excludes any kind of a real trade, real business, or any kind of commercial activity. Now with this, let's continue on about this. And we're going to go to Code of Federal Regulations, Section 1.1-1, okay? Income tax on individuals. As you know, in the previous video, I covered that. It tells us that Section 1 of the Code imposes an income tax on income of every individual who is a citizen or resident of the United States. And we covered that before. This United States is what? The District of Columbia. Here it is, like a Section 7701 definitions. We refresh you on that really quickly. United States and state do not include anything but the District of Columbia. That's all there is. Okay? Not the 50 states. So, but the second part, which I didn't cover for you before, is the part that relates to business owners. And to the extent provided by Section 871B or 877B on the income of a non-resident alien individual. Let's go to 871B. That's the key one. The other one, 877B, is on expatriation, giving up your U.S. citizenship for tax purposes, okay? So now let's go look at this a little bit closer now. And here are Section 871, tax on non-resident alien individuals, okay? Non-resident alien is someone who's not a resident and alien to Washington, D.C. Because you do not reside in D.C., and you're alien to D.C. Whether you're from Russia, England, China, Florida, Texas, guess what? You are not a resident or you're alien to Washington, D.C. All right? So with that, let's continue on now to Section 871B, what it tells us. Income connected with United States business, graduated rate of tax, okay? So here it is. We're going to go to imposition of tax in non-resident alien individual. That is someone not from the District of Columbia. Florida, California, Texas, New York, Russia, China, Egypt. You're not from D.C. You don't reside in there. You're not, any alien. You're not from D.C. That includes all of us, right? This is a code word, but engage in trade or business, which is what? Performance of function of public office, performing federal government work within the United States, within the District of Columbia, okay, during the taxable year shall be taxable as provided in Section 1 or 55 on its taxable income, which is, here's the key words again, effectively connected with the conduct of a trade or business doing federal government work within the United States, within D.C. Wow. That's how legally someone involved in the trade or business is taxed, a federal worker in D.C. But through deception, they make it appear all of this that applies to you, the business owner, when it does not apply to you at all in the first place. And let me show you in 1913, this is the very first income tax law after, in 1913, after the Income Tax Amendment, so-called 16th Amendment was ratified. And here it is. It applies to every citizen of the United States. Every person residing in the United States. A tax of 1%, it says, right? And look at the first paragraph, last three lines, yellow highlighted part, upon the entire net income from all property owned and of every business, trade, or profession carried on in the United States by persons residing elsewhere. See, this is anybody who is not from D.C., okay, and has business in D.C., they tax that foreigner who's doing some business in D.C., okay? See? So, so now, that's right there to first clue about this. And now look at the word trade or business. Later on, they give you the more specific definition for you, as I'll show you. But first, look at the definition of the United States. The term state of the United States, when used in the geographic in this section, shall be construed to include any territory, Alaska, District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, and the Philippine Islands. Yes, Philippines used to be part of the United States, when it was stolen from the Spanish in the Spanish-American War of 1895. Until World War II, Philippines was a U.S. territory, became a country later on, when such construction is necessary to carry out its provisions. State of the United States, they don't mention any of the 50 states because they could not do so constitutionally. They only listed D.C. and its territories. Yep. So now we're going to go on to the 1938 Revenue Act, and this is going to be very interesting. Okay? And here, look at this. They define the term, okay, trade or business. Listen, remember, 1938 tax laws, okay? Okay, trade or business. The term trade or business includes the performance of the functions of a public office. There it is. Federal government work. Now, I haven't looked back before 1938 completely, whether it was before that defined it like this, but in 1938 forward, for sure, it does not include any kind of commercial activity, any real business or trade at all. It only applied to federal workers, or contractors that worked within the District of Columbia. So that tells you right there, this again, this trade or business that income tax law is written for is not you, the small business owner, independent contractor. It doesn't apply to you in any way. The landlord, the investor, doesn't apply to any of this stuff at all. Okay, so here we are. Okay, so we know now this is B1. Okay, all this does not apply to the regular business people whatsoever. Okay, all this applies to people who do government work within DC. The bottom line is, you are a free man. You always been a free man or woman, but you were enslaved by the lies that FBI, CIA, DOJ are wonderful government agencies. They're here to protect you, to serve from bad guys, right? They're not, of course. You've learned that over Trump in the last 8 years, how they try to get that man because he's not a crook like many of the previous presidents America has had. And IRS at the same time is not this, powerful agency that I gotta file pay income tax, otherwise I go to prison. There's a law, of course, requires me to pay income tax because income tax applies to people in 50 states, right? Wrong. You are not required to file and pay income taxes. You are not a slave of the federal government. Never been one. Okay, so what you want to do is to educate yourself, okay, and love everyone around you with the truth. And I mean that. What I do is an act of love. I want to do a right thing, loving thing to help you be free. That's what I've done. This. I came from Iran in 1977 at age 14, and I found out in this free country, we're not free. And it's all done through deception. In 1992, I found out. I thought, oh my gosh, so easy. Just exercise your free speech, Peymon. And tell Americans, you've been lied to. Read the law. It's in plain English, folks. You see it in front of you. That's all you got to do. Follow the law. And tell everybody else, hey, man, we can empty the deep state. And don't you wait for Donald Trump. You think he's going to get rid of the income tax. No, he is not. You got to, from the bottom up, defund the swamp. Give yourself a pay raise. Right now, give your employees a pay raise, okay? But stop voluntarily sending the hard-earned money of you and your employees to the DC swamp, okay? You've been sending your money to be corruptly used to waste your money and enslave you. Why would you do that? Okay, right now is the time for you to stop filing and paying income taxes, okay? And if you're an employer, all your employees, yes, free them of income tax and payroll taxes. I don't care if you're doing billion-dollar business. It doesn't matter. Don't think, oh, I'm too big. I'll get in trouble. Oh, they're going to come get me because I'm such a big and famous guy. I do all this stuff. I'm very political. I speak up against the deep state. All this stuff in your head. You think you're so important with all that stuff? I got news for you. You're not to them. There's 80 million plus non-filers out there. 80 plus million people who, according to the IRS, were required to file income tax, but they did not. That's the facts. So with that, people, do yourself a favor, free yourself, fight inflation, price of things going up. Easy solution. Don't pay income tax. Stop paying payroll taxes too. Okay, it's on our website at freedomlawschool.org. Share this videos with your spouse, your children, your siblings, your parents, co-workers, people in the church community, and give them a chance to be free. I know you say, oh, Peymon, people are brainwashed. They don't listen, all that stuff. They're all afraid. Yeah, I know. But so what? So what? You think you are the last guy out there with an open mind? The ability to read and think for himself? No. There's a lot more people out there that have the ability like you to read, listen, and think for themselves. So go tell everybody. Spread the news to everybody. Text your friends. Put on your social media like Facebook and X. Put our videos, put a message out there. Copy our videos. Put it on YouTube if you want to, or Rumble. Get it out there. Okay? Add follow up when you text or email your friends. Hey, you watch this 10-minute video? Hey, tell me. I want to hear your opinion. Once they see it, they're going to say, oh my gosh, you were right. Thanks for opening my eyes. So with that, I want to let you know that I love every one of you. I want you to be free. And I invite you to not only love yourself with the truth, but share the truth with everybody else you love out there and help America be free while you're free right now. And together we can have America be free from the bottom up as we help Donald Trump from the top together. And America be free, prosperous, and great once again. Go to freedomlawschool.org now as you drive around town. Listen to our videos. Watch it road. When you get work or home, put it up. Play it as you eat lunch or dinner and verify for yourself and spread the loving news of freedom to everybody you know. Thank you for watching.